I am Cindy Lamb Poole. I was born here in the Pasadena area, April 3rd, 1957. The trains that would go along 225, we would sit there. My mother had a rocking chair and she'd rock us and we would count the trains as they went by. That's where I learned to count as a toddler. I can remember that, me and my sister sitting in my mom's lap, counting train cars. These baseball fields, we started playing here, and we would practice out in the open fields out there around the elementary school and then come to the games here. My mom would sit in the middle of the two fields so that she could watch my brother play on one side and my sister and I play on the other side. We would be outside playing and the jets would take off from Ellington Air Force Base. It was an active Air Force base, and we would often see people in their uniforms around town. Their line of departure was right over our house, and about the time they would get to our house, they would pass the sound barrier and just this sonic boom would happen right over the top of us. Our windows would shake, and of course the little kids in the neighborhood, it would scare them to death. Everybody's screaming. It happened regularly. When I got to junior high, my dad was the principal, and that was a little awkward at times, but I was a good kid, so I wasn't having to run away or hide from him or anything. We kind of started flirting around and noticing each other when we were in junior high, and once we got towards high school, my 9th grade year, his sophomore year, we called ourselves boyfriend and girlfriend. And of course my dad would never let me have a date with anybody. He said, until I was 30. But at homecoming, when I was in the 9th grade, I got to go on my first real date with Mike Poole. My mother made me a new dress for it. Of course, I had the big old flower that hung all the way down to my knees. And we went to Landry's afterwards, and that was the sum of our date. But of course, his mom and grandmother drove us, and they ate on one side of the restaurant while we ate on the other, and then drove us home. That was how my dad let me go if his mother would take us. We got married at South Avenue Baptist Church, and we announced on Tuesday we were getting married on Saturday, and this was right at Christmas time, so a lot of people we loved and would like to have been there were off having Christmas vacation. My mother went to Foley's and bought a dress and came up to my job and said, "I found a dress at Foley's, I tried it on, it fit me, I hope you like it." And that was my wedding dress. We just called a few friends and said, just invite anybody you know that would want to come, and I'll be if there wasn't about 100 people at our wedding. I felt a calling as a young lady, very young, to learn some sign language and just be able to tell deaf people that God loves them in their own language. So as I remember 6th grade, me and a girlfriend looked up the ABCs, and so we learned ABC. And one of our big secrets was we could spell to each other here and during class time and not get caught for talking. So that was the beginning of wanting to learn sign language, mostly so I wouldn't get caught talking in class. I ended up hearing about a job with the Texas Rehabilitation Commission to be a sign language interpreter for the deaf people that needed job interviewing or job training to go with them to just interpret for them. And so that became my first job as an interpreter. So I set myself up as a business, my own business, and it grew and grew. I became Cinco Workshop. I ended up, at one time I had like 12 employees. I was there through the whole thing, I would say 18, 19 years I did that. We have actually been far and wide. We ride motorcycles, and we've ridden from Alaska to Key West and everywhere in between. But we keep coming back to there's no place that we could have a better living or a better income or you know, a good safe place to be than right here in Pasadena, Texas.